In Port Harcourt, people judge marriage by what they see. If the house is fine, if the man drives a good car, if the woman looks happy in public, then people will say, this marriage is blessed. That was how people talked about Nkiru. They did not know she was married to a monster. Nkiru was 26 years old. She was beautiful in a simple way, not loud, not proud, just calm and gentle. She lived in a clean middle-class neighborhood in Port Harcourt, the kind of area where neighbors greet each other in the morning and children play outside in the evening. From the outside, her home looked peaceful. Inside, it looked perfect. Nkiru's husband was Emeka. Emeka was 34 years old, tall, well-built, always neat. People respected Emeka. He worked with oil companies. He dressed well. He spoke softly in public. He sat in front at church. When Emeka walked into a room, people smiled at him. They called him a good man. They said Nkiru was lucky. Sometimes Nkiru believed them. She remembered how everything started. Emeka met her and spoke gently. He listened when she talked. He made promises. He said he would protect her. He said she would never suffer. And Nkiru believed him. In the early days of marriage, Emeka acted kind. He smiled often. He bought her small gifts. He called her sweet names. In public, he held her hand. People saw them together and smiled. Inside the house, things still looked normal. The living room was neat. The furniture was clean. The curtains matched the walls. Nkiru took care of the home. She cooked. She cleaned. She tried to be a good wife. Sometimes she would sit alone on the sofa and think. She felt happy, but sometimes she felt uneasy, like something was wrong but not clear yet. Emeka would watch her closely, too closely. Sometimes his eyes would change, just for a second. His face would tighten, his smile would fade, then he would smile again. Nkiru noticed it, but she did not understand it. She told herself everything was fine. One evening, Nkiru was in the kitchen. She was cooking calmly. The kitchen was clean and modern. The pot was on the gas cooker. The smell of food filled the air. It felt like a normal home, a safe home. Nkiru did not know that this was the calm before the storm. She did not know the man she married was hiding something dark. She did not know that behind Emeka's calm voice was anger waiting to come out. And she did not know that this house would soon become a place of fear. For now, everything looked peaceful, too peaceful. And that was how the lie began. Every monster starts small. It does not roar on the first day. It does not show its teeth immediately. It waits. That was how Emeka's monster waited. After the wedding excitement faded, real life began. Emeka started watching Nkiru more closely, too closely. If she smiled while reading a message, he asked questions. If she laughed during a phone call, he wanted to know who it was. At first, Nkiru thought it was love. She told herself, he just cares. But care does not feel heavy, and this one did. One evening, Nkiru returned from the market. She greeted Emeka with a smile. He did not answer. She noticed his face was tight. His jaw was stiff. His eyes were cold. What is wrong? She asked softly. Emeka stood up slowly. Who were you talking to on the phone? He asked. Nkiru was confused. My cousin, she replied. She called to ask about. Before she could finish, Emeka interrupted her. Why does she call you every time I am not around? Nkiru felt her chest tighten. She just wanted to greet me, she said. Emeka walked closer. Do you think I am a fool? He asked. Nkiru stepped back. No, she said quickly. I would never. The slap came suddenly, sharp, loud, unexpected. Nkiru froze. Her ears rang. Her cheek burned. For a moment, she could not breathe. She touched her face slowly, not believing what just happened. Emeka looked at her. Don't ever make me repeat myself, he said. His voice was calm. That scared her more than the slap. Nkiru's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. Emeka picked up his phone and walked away like nothing happened. Nkiru stood there alone. Her heart was beating fast. Her hands were shaking. She went to the bathroom and locked the door. She stared at herself in the mirror. Her cheek was red. Her eyes were wide with shock. This is not real, she told herself. She washed her face and tried to calm down. That night, she could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt the slap again. In the morning, Emeka acted normal. He greeted her. He asked for food. He even smiled. I was stressed yesterday, he said. I didn't mean it. He bought meat pie on his way back. He kissed her forehead. Forgive me, he said. Nkiru wanted peace, so she forgave him. She told herself it would never happen again. But deep inside, something had changed. A small fear had entered her heart, and fear does not leave easily. Days passed, then weeks. The slap did not repeat immediately, but Emeka's words became sharper. Watch how you talk. You are becoming too forward. I don't like stubborn women. Nkiru became careful. She spoke less. She smiled less. She walked on eggshells. She tried to keep the peace. But peace built on fear never lasts. One night, while Nkiru was cooking, Emeka complained the food was slow. Can you hurry up? He shouted from the living room. I'm almost done, Nkiru replied. Emeka entered the kitchen. His eyes were dark again. You are slow because you don't respect me, he said. Nkiru kept quiet. Her silence made him angrier. Answer me, he shouted. She looked up slowly. I didn't mean anything bad, she said. Emeka raised his hand. Then he stopped. For a second, he looked at her. Then he walked away. Nkiru's legs were weak. She held the kitchen counter. She knew something now. The slap was not a mistake. It was a warning. And the monster was waking up. That night, Nkiru lay on the bed beside Emeka. He slept peacefully. She stared at the ceiling. Her heart was heavy. She wondered if this was what marriage was supposed to be. She wondered if things would get better. She did not know yet. But one thing was clear. The perfect lie was starting to crack. And once a crack appears, the truth always finds its way out. After the first slap, the house changed. Not the walls, not the furniture, but the air. Fear moved in quietly. Nkiru felt it every morning she woke up. She felt it every time Emeka entered the room. She began to watch everything. His face, his voice, his footsteps. She learned to read his mood the way people read the weather. When his face was calm, she relaxed a little. When his jaw became tight, her heart started beating fast. She stopped laughing freely. She stopped talking too much. She stopped being herself. Life became careful, very careful. One evening, Emeka watched her quietly as she swept the floor. You are too quiet, he said. Nkiru forced a small smile. I'm just tired, she replied. Emeka stood up. Tired from what? He asked. Nkiru did not answer. That silence made him angry. The second slap came without warning. It pushed her against the wall. Her ears rang. Her head spun. Emeka walked away like nothing happened. That night, no apology came. A few days later, it happened again. This time, it was because the food was cold. Emeka pushed her. He grabbed her arm tightly. He warned her not to scream. After that, the beatings did not shock her anymore. They became normal. Sometimes it was a slap. Sometimes it was a push. Sometimes it was his fingers digging into her arm. Each time, Emeka acted normal after. He ate, he slept, he smiled, like nothing happened. Nkiru learned how to hide pain. She wore long sleeves even in hot weather. She used makeup to cover marks on her face. When people asked, how is marriage? She answered, we thank God. At night, she cried quietly. She went to Emeka's mother again. She knelt down. Mommy, she said softly, your son beats me often. Mama Emeka sighed. My daughter, she said, do not let people hear this. It will spoil his name. Nkiru's voice shook. I am scared, she said. Mama Emeka looked away. Be patient, she replied. Men change. Nkiru left that house with a heavy heart. She understood something painful. Nobody was coming to save her. Not family, not elders, not church. She was alone. One night, after beating her, Emeka locked her inside the room. She knocked. She begged. She cried. No answer. She slept on the cold floor that night, hungry, afraid. As she stared into the darkness, one thought stayed in her mind. If this continues, I will not survive. The next morning, Emeka opened the door like nothing happened. Cook, he said, handing her money. Nkiru collected it. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was clear. That day, hope died, and something else was born, a plan. Nkiru stopped waiting for Emeka to change. She stopped expecting apologies. She started thinking deeply, thinking carefully. She remembered how nobody believed her words. She remembered how everyone respected Emeka, and she understood one truth. Words were not enough. That night, as Emeka slept peacefully beside her, Nkiru lay awake. Fear was still there, but now determination was there too. The monster had shown his face, and Nkiru was getting. That night, Nkiru did not sleep. Emeka slept beside her like nothing happened. His breathing was slow, peaceful. Nkiru stared at the ceiling. Her eyes were open. Her heart was heavy. Fear was still there, but fear was no longer the strongest thing in her heart. Something else had grown. Awareness. She finally understood the truth. Silence was not protecting her. Silence was killing her slowly. She remembered all the times she spoke and nobody listened. She remembered all the times people said, endure. She remembered how Emeka always walked free after hurting her. That was when Nkiru accepted something painful. If she kept quiet, she would not survive. The next morning, Emeka left for work like always. He dressed neatly. He adjusted his wristwatch. He did not look at her. Cook, he said, dropping money on the table. Nkiru picked the money. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was clear. That day, she went to the market as usual, but she did not buy only food. She bought knowledge. She listened when people talked. She watched quietly. Later, she passed by a small phone accessories shop. A young boy was fixing phones inside. Nkiru stood there pretending to check phone cases. "Auntie," the boy said, "are you looking for something?" Nkiru lowered her voice. "I need something small," she said. "Something that can see and hear." The boy looked around. "You mean camera?" he asked softly. Nkiru nodded. He showed her small devices. Some looked like chargers. Some looked like wall plugs. Some looked like small clocks. Nkiru's heart beat fast. "Can it record sound?" she asked. "Yes," the boy said. "Everything." That was all she needed to hear. She bought them quietly. She hid them inside her bag. When she got home, she locked herself in the bedroom. Her hands were shaking as she brought them out. She was scared, but she was also determined. That night, after Emeka slept, Nkiru moved slowly. She placed one camera in the living room, facing the sofa. She placed one in the bedroom, near the wardrobe. She placed one near the kitchen door. She tested them quietly. They worked. Nkiru sat on the bed and covered her mouth. Tears rolled down her face, not tears of fear, tears of resolve. For the first time in a long time, she felt a small sense of control. Days passed. Emeka continued. He shouted, he insulted, he pushed. Each time, the cameras watched. Each time, the truth was stored. Nkiru cried on camera. She bled on camera. She begged on camera. And Emeka exposed himself without knowing. Sometimes, Nkiru felt weak. Sometimes, she wanted to scream. But she stayed focused. She knew she was building something powerful. One night, after Emeka slapped her, she sat on the bathroom floor. Her cheek was burning. Her eyes were swollen. She looked at the camera and whispered, Now they will see. She cleaned herself. She went to bed. Emeka slept. The cameras did not. Week after week, the memory cards filled. Different days, different moods, same monster. Nkiru saved everything carefully. She hid the cards where Emeka would never look. Behind old clothes, inside empty containers. Each video gave her strength. Each recording gave her voice. Nkiru no longer begged Emeka to change. She no longer explained herself too much. She became calm. Too calm. Emeka noticed. "You are quiet," he said one night. "You think you are smart?" Nkiru looked down. "I'm just tired," she said. Emeka laughed. "Good," he said. "Stay that way." He did not know the silence he enjoyed was the silence preparing to expose him. That night, Nkiru lay on the bed beside him. Fear was still there, but now fear was sharing space with courage. The monster was still in the house, but Nkiru was no longer unarmed. The truth was watching, and soon the truth would speak.
The camera did not blink. It did not turn away. It did not feel fear. It watched. In the living room, a small charger sat quietly on the wall. It looked normal, but inside it, truth was waiting. Emeka walked into the house angry. His jaw was tight. His fists were clenched. He did not know he was being watched. Nkiru stood a few steps away. She did not argue. She did not shout. She had learnt. When Emeka spoke, his voice was sharp. "Are you deaf?" he shouted. Nkiru lowered her eyes. Her shoulders were stiff. The camera captured everything. The words, the anger, the silence. That night, after Emeka slept, Nkiru sat alone on the bed. Her phone was in her hands. She pressed play. Her own face stared back at her from the screen. Her own fear, her own pain. Her eyes filled with tears. Not because she was weak, but because she finally saw the truth clearly. She was not imagining anything. This was real. Nkiru lowered the phone slowly. Her hands stopped shaking. For the first time in a long time, her mind was calm. "They will see," she whispered. Days passed. The house stayed the same, but something was different. Now there were eyes everywhere. In the living room, in the bedroom, in the kitchen. The cameras watched quietly. They watched Emeka shout. They watched him insult. They watched him push fear into the room. And they saved everything. One night, Nkiru hid the memory cards inside her clothes. Her fingers moved carefully. Her heart beat fast. If Emeka found them, everything would end. But he did not notice. He sat on the sofa scrolling through his phone, relaxed, confident. He thought he was in control. Nkiru stood by the mirror later that night. She looked at her face. She looked tired, but she also looked awake. No more confusion, no more doubt. The monster spoke again the next day. His voice was loud. His words were cruel. But Nkiru stayed quiet, not because she was weak, but because she was ready. The camera recorded. The truth grew. That night, Nkiru sat on the bed again. The memory cards were beside her. Her phone was quiet. Her face was calm. The fear was still there, but it was no longer alone. Courage had joined it. The monster was still in the house, but now the truth was watching. And soon, the truth would speak.